What's up, everybody on YouTube? I'm ONH. Welcome to What's It Worth. And since it is freezing, and yes, I'm under this thing, these kind of cold days remind me of the one movie that there's 3 films, 1 video game. I'm going to review the one that started it all, The Thing from Another World. Based on the story Who Goes There by John W. Campbell Jr., this chilling 1951 classic follows a group of scientists and Air Force pilots that make a terrific discovery and unearth a being frozen in the ice. When defrosted, the hostile humanoid wreaks havoc on the station, forcing what's left of the team to make a final stand against a terrifying and unstoppable being from another world. Now, like most sci-fi films of the 50s, The Thing was just another one that didn't get its recognition until the 60s and the 70s. This is actually one of Howard Hawks' pretty intense black and white feature. I mean, he's done World War II films, he's done westerns, but this is a sci-fi film, and how he treated it was pretty good, especially by just like the intense scoring that gives off startling moments. This film actually became a defining classic that puts the characters in a situation where they can't call for help, they can't escape the thing, they can't, it's like help is so far away. They're trapped in a barren, frozen wasteland, and they're up against something that is so hard to kill. And it's like how they pulled it off was really well done, especially for that time period. And of course, like most sci-fi films of the 1950s, they always have to have the one mad scientist that has to make things worse, all in the name of science. And that goes for the character Dr. Carrington, in which he's appeared in other films. He played a scientist in the War of the Worlds. He wasn't a mad scientist, but he was a scientist. He played a mad scientist in an episode of The Thin Man, which had Robbie the Robot in there as well from Forbidden Planet. In this film, this guy is just off the rocker, nuts. He was obsessed with his discovery, and he went to extremes to try and protect it, even costed human lives just to get his answers to all things in the universe. And of course, it always has to be the mad scientist that's just rocking a goatee. Of course, the one thing that made this movie awesome was the guy who plays the Thing, which the actor is James Arness, at which he's from the show Gunsmoke. He's also known in another 50s film called Them. Yes, the giant ants one. This is actually one of his movies where he's under like tons of makeup in the head, in his hands. And he was just this intimidating force that the humans were up against. And of course they casted him for his large stature. And it was kind of ballsy that they actually lit him on fire. And there was like behind the scene pictures of him being lit on fire, then being put out. And he's like, oh yeah, I'm great. Window. I could have sworn the girl using the bedding, the mattress, like she must have gotten scorched like near the ankle area, especially where the flames were. It's like, what was shocking when I was looking into this film was there was actually 2 actors that played the Thing. Of course, James Arness, as I mentioned, and then there's this little actor that they casted that's put under the same makeup. And you only see him briefly, and it's when they kill the Thing, when they zap him to death. He plays as the final phase of the Thing, where he's shrunken down to like this tiny little thing before he's just this pile of ash. Which I was like, huh, that's pretty cool. There's some things that you'll probably find a little corny about this film is the fact that the Thing is basically just a walking giant plant that needs blood from dogs, humans, whatever, to sustain itself, and also as part of a reproductive process, since he can plant seeds of his own to grow more just like him. And how they described him is he's not like us. He's not a flesh and blood living thing as much as he's made up of, he has a plant-like makeup in his genetics where he's incapable of feeling pain or pleasure. He has no emotions. He doesn't have a conscience, but he does have intelligence, and he's methodical when trying to get at his prey or to escape, and try to figure out like how to cut them off and group them all into one room by cutting off their heat, which is kind of scary. And of course, you know, like most movies, the first half's just a tad slow. But at least in the case of this film, it's not like extremely slow. It introduces you to the characters, which is actually one of the biggest strong points of this film, are the characters. It's like each one of them is charismatic, amusing, colorful in their own way. I mean, it's like they were just very entertaining to watch, and that was what pretty much kept you from being bored out of your mind. And of course, it's got some old school, like 50s humor that some people might find funny, and others it's like... But that's until you fast forward like 40 minutes later, and that's when the thing is like melted out of the ice. That's when the film starts kicking up the momentum, and it's like startling moments, which for a 50s film, it's got some parts where it make you go, ooh, shit. Like it'll startle you, and it's usually because the composer does little music and then does these startling like musical cues that's supposed to make you jump out of your skin, especially when the thing just kind of pops up out of nowhere. I bet people jumped out of their skins like when they saw this in theater. And of course, this film wouldn't have worked without Howard Hawks' signature of rapid fire dialogue, colorful characters, a great ensemble of actors, and of course characters being put in a do or die stress situations, which intensifies the story. And it was perfect for a sci-fi film like this, especially when the characters are trapped in Antarctica with a creature that will not die easily. Where would I rank The Thing from Another World? I'm going to give this a full price because it's a classic. It is like, I mean, without this film, John Carpenter would not have made the one that we've all come to love and remember. Okay, so I'm done reviewing The Thing from Another World, and I'm going to be moving on to John Carpenter's The Thing and then The Thing prequel. So until next time, heed the warning.
Tell the world. Tell this to everybody wherever they are. Watch the skies everywhere. Keep looking. Keep watching the skies.